Stop scrolling, just for a moment. I know your thumb is already twitching, ready to swipe to the next video, the next distraction, the next fleeting moment of entertainment. But what if I told you that in the next few minutes, something could shift in your heart that would change everything? What if the very thing you've been searching for in every scroll, every click, every desperate attempt to fill that gnawing emptiness inside, has been waiting patiently for you to simply stop and listen? You see, there's a love that doesn't need your performance, a love that doesn't require you to be perfect, polished, or put together. A love so deep, so overwhelming, so transformative that it can reach into the darkest corners of your soul and whisper, "You are mine." But here's the thing about this love. You can't find it while you're running. You can't discover it while you're constantly moving, constantly consuming, constantly trying to numb the ache that lives just beneath the surface of your carefully curated life. My name is here to tell you that everything you've been taught about love, about worth, about purpose, has been a shadow compared to what's actually available to you right now. Not tomorrow, not when you get your life together, not when you finally become the person you think you should be. Right now, in this moment, with all your mess, all your mistakes, all your beautiful brokenness. I want to take you on a journey today. Not a journey that requires you to pack your bags or buy a plane ticket, but a journey inward, a journey toward the most profound encounter your soul will ever experience. And I promise you this, by the time we're finished, you'll understand why your heart has been restless, why nothing seems to satisfy, why you keep searching for something more. Because there is something more. There's someone more. And he's been pursuing you with a relentless, shatter every misconnectless, revolutionary love that will seption you've ever had about what it means to be truly, deeply, eternally loved. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly seen, not just looked at, but seen? When was the last time someone looked past your Instagram filters, past your carefully constructed image, past the version of yourself you present to the world, and saw the real you, the you that exists in the quiet moments, the you that wrestles with doubt and fear and hope all at the same time, the you that wonders if you matter, if your life has meaning, if there's anyone out there who could love you if they really knew you? Here's what I've discovered after years of searching, after climbing every mountain of achievement, after trying to earn love through performance, after attempting to fill the void with everything this world has to offer. There's a love that sees you completely and chooses you anyway. There's a love that knows every thought you've never spoken, every dream you've buried, every wound you've tried to hide, and whispers, "I want you, all of you, just as you are." This isn't the kind of love you earn. It's not the kind of love you deserve. It's not even the kind of love you can understand with your mind. It's the kind of love that can only be experienced, received, embraced. It's the love that created the stars and knows your name. The love that holds the universe together and counts every tear you've ever cried. The love that is both infinite and intimate, both cosmic and personal. And here's what's absolutely mind-blowing about this love. It's not waiting for you to clean up your act. It's not standing at a distance, arms crossed, tapping its foot, waiting for you to prove yourself worthy. No, this love is running toward you, right now, in your confusion, in your pain, in your questions, in your struggles. This love is saying, "Come as you are. Bring your doubts, bring your failures. Bring your broken dreams and shattered expectations. I'm not going anywhere." You know what's killing us? What's literally stealing the life from our souls? It's this constant need to perform, to achieve, to prove our worth through what we do, rather than resting in who we are. We've turned love into a transaction. We've made relationship about earning and deserving instead of receiving and resting. We've bought into the lie that we have to be enough, do enough, achieve enough to be worthy of love. But what if I told you that the very thing you're trying so hard to earn has already been freely given? What if the acceptance you're desperately seeking through your accomplishments, your appearance, your achievements, is already yours? What if the voice you've been straining to hear above the noise of this world has been speaking your name with tenderness since before you took your first breath? This is where everything changes. This is where the scrolling stops and the embracing begins. Because once you understand the nature of this love, once you really grasp that it's not based on your performance, but on His character, not on your perfection, but on His grace, not on your ability to earn it, but on His decision to give it, everything shifts. I remember the moment it hit me. I was sitting in my car after another day of trying to be enough, trying to do enough, trying to make everyone happy while slowly dying inside. The silence was deafening. The emptiness was overwhelming. And in that moment of complete surrender, when I had nothing left to offer, nothing left to prove, nothing left to give, I heard it. Not with my ears, but with my heart. I love you, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Not because you're perfect, but because you're mine. That single moment changed everything. Not because my circumstances changed, they didn't. Not because my problems disappeared, they didn't. But because I finally understood that I was already loved, already chosen, already enough. Not because of anything I had done, but because of everything He had done. And that's what I want you to experience today. That moment when you realize you can stop running, stop performing, stop trying so hard to earn something that's already been given. That moment when you understand that the love you've been searching for isn't found in the next achievement, the next relationship, the next purchase, the next experience. It's found in the arms of the one who made you, who knows you, who chose you before you ever chose Him. But here's where it gets even more beautiful. This love doesn't just accept you as you are, though it absolutely does that. This love transforms you. Not through pressure, not through shame, not through the crushing weight of expectation, but through the overwhelming power of grace. When you truly understand how deeply you're loved, you can't help but be changed. When you grasp the magnitude of this gift, you become a different person. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Not because you're forced to, but because you're free to. Think about it. When someone loves you unconditionally, when someone sees all your flaws and chooses to love you anyway, when someone believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself, something powerful happens inside you. You start to see yourself differently. You start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you're worth loving after all. You start to live from a place of security instead of insecurity, from a place of abundance instead of scarcity, from a place of rest instead of striving. This is what happens when you let the love of God embrace your soul. This is what happens when you stop scrolling through life, desperately searching for something to fill the void, and start resting in the truth that you are already filled, already complete, already loved beyond measure. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. There's got to be a catch. Nothing in life is free. Love always comes with conditions, with expectations, with strings attached. And you know what? You're right to think that, because that's been your experience. Every love you've known has had limits. Every relationship has had conditions. Every acceptance has come with terms and conditions. But what if I told you there's a love that breaks all the rules? A love that doesn't make sense by human standards. A love that's so radical, so revolutionary, so completely contrary to everything you've experienced that it takes your breath away. This love doesn't love you because you're good. It makes you good because it loves you. This love doesn't choose you because you're worthy. It makes you worthy because it chooses you. This love doesn't accept you because you measure up. It changes the measuring stick altogether. And here's the thing that will absolutely blow your mind. This love has been pursuing you your entire life. Every moment of beauty that took your breath away, every unexpected kindness that touched your heart, every glimpse of hope in the middle of darkness, every whisper that maybe there's more to life than what you can see. That was this love, calling your name, drawing you closer, refusing to let you go. You think you're searching for God, but the truth is, He's been searching for you. You think you're trying to find love, but love has been trying to find you. You think you're the one reaching out, but you're actually responding to the one who reached out first, who never stopped reaching, who will never stop pursuing your heart until you finally understand that you are His beloved, His treasure, His joy. This isn't some cosmic accident. This isn't some random force in the universe that happened to stumble upon you. This is intentional. This is personal. This is the Creator of everything that exists saying, of all the souls I could love, of all the hearts I could pursue, of all the lives I could transform, I choose yours. Not because you're perfect, but because you're you. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you're beautifully, wonderfully, perfectly imperfect. And I need you to understand something that will change how you see yourself forever. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not too broken, too damaged, too far gone. You are not the sum of your worst decisions or your biggest failures. You are not defined by your past, limited by your present circumstances, or doomed to repeat your patterns. You are chosen. You are wanted. You are loved with an everlasting love that will never fade, never diminish, never give up on you. But here's what's tragic. Here's what breaks my heart and should break yours. We live in a world that has convinced us that love is earned, not given. We've been programmed to believe that acceptance comes through achievement, that worth is measured by productivity, that value is determined by performance. We've created a culture where your identity is tied to your output, where your significance is measured by your success, where your belonging depends on your ability to meet impossible standards. And so we scroll, we consume, we compare, we compete, we hustle and grind and push and strive, all in a desperate attempt to earn something that's already ours, to achieve something that's already been given, to become someone we already are. It's like spending your entire life trying to buy a house you already own, working multiple jobs to pay for something that's already yours, exhausting yourself to earn something that's already in your name. This is the beautiful insanity of grace. While you're trying to climb the mountain to reach God, He's already come down the mountain to reach you. While you're trying to bridge the gap between where you are and where you think you need to be, He's already crossed that gap and is standing right beside you. While you're trying to make yourself worthy of love, He's saying, you don't have to earn what I freely give. You don't have to achieve what I've already accomplished. You don't have to become what you already are in my eyes. Think about the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. Think about that moment when the sky exploded with colors you didn't even know existed, when the whole world seemed to pause in reverence, when something deep inside your soul whispered, this is what beauty looks like. Now imagine that sunset was painted specifically for you. Imagine that every stroke of color, every blend of light, every breathtaking moment was designed with you in mind, created for your eyes, crafted for your heart. That's what this love is like. It's personal, it's intentional, it's custom-made for your soul. The same God who painted that sunset with you in mind, who carved out mountains and filled oceans and scattered stars across the sky, that same God knows your name. He knows your story. He knows your struggles and your dreams and your fears and your hopes. And He doesn't just love you in spite of all that. He loves you because of all that. Every part of your story, even the chapters you wish you could rewrite, is part of what makes you who you are. And who you are is exactly who He loves. But we've been taught to hide those chapters. We've been conditioned to present only our highlight reel, to show only our victories, to share only our successes. We've created these perfect personas, these carefully curated versions of ourselves that we think are more lovable, more acceptable, more worthy of affection. And in doing so, we've robbed ourselves of the very thing we're desperately seeking: authentic connection, genuine acceptance, real love. Here's what's revolutionary about the love of God. It doesn't want your highlight reel. It wants your whole story. It doesn't want your perfect performance. It wants your honest heart. It doesn't want you to clean up before you come. It wants to clean you up as you come. It wants your mess, your questions, your doubts, your struggles. It wants the parts of yourself you've never shown anyone, the thoughts you've never spoken, the dreams you've been too afraid to admit. And when you finally have the courage to bring all of that, when you finally stop hiding and start being real, when you finally stop pretending and start being honest, when you finally stop performing and start being yourself, that's when you discover that you've been loved all along. That's when you realize that the love you were trying so hard to earn was already yours. That's when you understand that the acceptance you were desperately seeking was never withheld in the first place. This is where the scrolling stops and the living begins. This is where the searching ends and the finding starts. This is where you discover that the very thing you've been looking for in every swipe, every click, every desperate attempt to fill the void has been inside you all along. Not because you put it there, but because it was placed there by the one who made you. You see, God didn't create you and then step back to see how you'd turn out. He didn't make you and then wait to see if you'd be worth loving. He loved you before he made you. He chose you before you chose him. He delighted in you before you ever did anything to delight in. Your worth isn't something you earn, it's something you inherit. Your value isn't something you achieve. It's something you receive. Your identity isn't something you create, it's something you discover. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you really understand this, once it moves from your head to your heart, once you truly grasp the magnitude of this love, everything changes. Not because you have to change, but because you can't help but change. When you realize you're already loved, you stop trying so hard to be lovable. When you understand you're already chosen, you stop desperately trying to prove your worth. When you grasp that you're already enough, you stop the exhausting cycle of trying to become more. This is what freedom looks like. This is what peace feels like. This is what it means to rest in the love that has been pursuing you your entire life, waiting patiently for you to stop running long enough to be caught, to stop hiding long enough to be found, to stop scrolling long enough to be embraced. But I know there's a voice in your head right now, maybe the same voice that's been with you for years, whispering lies about your worth, your value, your significance. Maybe it's telling you that this is all too good to be true, that you're too broken for this kind of love, that you've done too much wrong to be forgiven, that you've wandered too far to find your way home. That voice is a liar. That voice doesn't know your story the way your Creator does. That voice doesn't see your potential the way your Father does. That voice doesn't understand your worth the way your Savior does. That voice is the enemy of your soul, trying desperately to keep you from discovering the truth about who you are and whose you are. Here's the truth. That voice doesn't want you to know. You were created for intimacy with the divine. Not the kind of distant religious relationship where you have to earn your way into God's good graces through perfect behavior and flawless performance. I'm talking about the kind of soul-deep connection where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are seen, known, cherished, and delighted in exactly as you are right now. You know what's absolutely incredible? While you've been scrolling through your phone looking for validation from strangers, while you've been refreshing your social media feeds, hoping for likes and comments to make you feel worthy, while you've been consuming endless content trying to fill that aching void inside your chest, there's been someone waiting, someone who already knows every single thing about you and loves you not in spite of it, but because of it. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. The God who spoke galaxies into existence, who commands the stars by name, who holds the ocean in the palm of his hand, that same God thinks about you. He delights in you. He rejoices over you with singing. When he looks at you, he doesn't see your failures first. He doesn't catalogue your mistakes. He doesn't keep a running tally of all the ways you've fallen short. When he looks at you, he sees his beloved child. He sees someone worth dying for. He sees someone worth everything. But here's where most of us get stuck. We've been conditioned to believe that love is conditional, that affection must be earned, that acceptance comes with a price tag. We've learned from our earthly relationships that love can be withdrawn, that affection can be conditional, that acceptance can be revoked. And so we project those limitations onto the limitless love of God. We think He loves us when we're good and withdraws when we're bad. We think He's pleased with us when we're succeeding and disappointed when we're struggling. We think His affection fluctuates based on our performance, that His grace is somehow tied to our goo transaction. That's not grace, that's a businessness. But that's not love, that's a deal. That's not the heart of your Heavenly Father. That's the voice of the enemy trying to keep you trapped in cycles of shame and striving. Let me paint you a different picture. Imagine a father watching his child take their first steps. The child stumbles, falls, gets back up, takes a few wobbly steps, and falls again. Does the father's love decrease with each stumble? Does his pride diminish with each fall? Does he cross his arms and say, "Well, I'll love you again when you can walk perfectly"? Of course not. If anything, his heart swells with even more love, more pride, more delight in his child's determination to keep trying. That's how your Heavenly Father sees you. Every stumble, every fall, every time you get back up and try again, His heart is bursting with love for you. He's not keeping score of your failures. He's celebrating your courage. He's not disappointed in your imperfections. He's delighted in your authenticity. He's not waiting for you to get it right. He's cheering you on as you figure it out. But we live in a performance-based world that has infected our understanding of divine love. We think God's love operates like human love, limited, conditional, fragile. We think His grace works like earthly grace, finite, earned, revocable. We think His acceptance functions like human acceptance, based on merit, dependent on behavior, subject to change. That's the lie that's been killing your soul. That's the deception that's been keeping you trapped in endless cycles of trying harder, doing more, being better. That's the false narrative that's convinced you that you have to earn your way into God's heart when you've been there all along. Here's what blew my mind when I finally understood it. God's love for you isn't based on your performance. It's based on His character. His affection for you isn't determined by your actions. It's determined by His nature. His acceptance of you isn't conditional on your behavior. It's grounded in His decision to love you unconditionally. This means that on your worst day, when you've failed spectacularly, when you've made choices you regret, when you can barely look at yourself in the mirror, His love for you is exactly the same as it was on your best day. This means that when you're struggling with addiction, battling depression, wrestling with doubt, questioning everything you thought you knew, His heart toward you hasn't changed one bit. This means that whether you're on the mountaintop of victory or in the valley of despair, His love remains constant, unwavering, unshakable. Do you understand what this means for your soul? Do you grasp what this could mean for your life? You can stop trying so hard to impress God. You can stop exhausting yourself trying to earn His approval. You can stop the relentless cycle of spiritual performance and religious striving. You can rest. You can breathe. You can simply be loved. But here's where it gets even more beautiful, even more revolutionary. This love doesn't just accept you as you are, though it absolutely does that. This love transforms you from the inside out. Not through pressure and guilt and shame, but through the overwhelming power of grace. Not through threats and fear and condemnation, but through kindness and patience and mercy. When you truly understand how deeply you're loved, when you really grasp the unconditional nature of God's affection for you, when you let this truth penetrate not just your mind but your heart, something miraculous happens. You start to see yourself the way He sees you. You start to believe about love yourself the way He loves you, yourself what He believes about you. You start to, and that changes everything. When you know you're loved, you stop desperately seeking love in all the wrong places. When you know you're accepted, you stop trying to earn acceptance through performance. When you know you're enough, you stop the exhausting pursuit of trying to become more. When you know you're chosen, you stop living like you're constantly auditioning for a part you've already been given. This is what it means to let the love of God embrace your soul. This is what happens when you stop scrolling through life, looking for something to fill the void, and start resting in the truth that the void has already been filled. This is what it looks like to live from a place of security instead of insecurity, abundance instead of scarcity, rest instead of striving. I wish I could reach through this screen right now and grab you by the shoulders and look you in the eyes and make you understand. You are not an accident. Your life is not a mistake. Your story is not a series of random events that somehow led you to this moment. You were created on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose. Every detail of your life, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the broken, it's all part of a larger story that God is writing. And in that story, you're not the villain. You're not the problem that needs to be fixed. You're not the mistake that needs to be corrected. You're the beloved. You're the treasured one. You're the one He moved heaven and earth to rescue, to redeem, to restore. But you'll never experience this reality while you're constantly moving, constantly consuming, constantly trying to numb the pain or fill the emptiness with temporary fixes. You'll never discover the depth of His love while you're skimming the surface of life. You'll never know the peace of being fully known and fully loved while you're hiding behind masks and pretending to be someone you're not. This is why you have to stop scrolling, not just through your phone, but through life. Stop racing from one distraction to the next, from one experience to the next, from one relationship to the next, hoping that the next thing will finally be the thing that makes you feel whole. Stop running from the silence, from the stillness, from the space where you might actually hear the voice that's been calling your name your entire life. Because in that stillness, in that sacred space where all the noise fades away and all the distractions disappear, that's where you'll find what you've been looking for all along. That's where you'll discover that the love you've been desperately seeking has been pursuing you. That's where you'll realize that the acceptance you've been trying to earn has already been given. That's where you'll understand that the embrace your soul has been craving is already there, waiting for you to simply receive it. God isn't playing hard to get. He's not hiding from you. He's not waiting for you to clean up your act or get your life together before He reveals Himself. He's right there, right now, in this very moment, with arms wide open, heart full of love, eyes full of compassion, saying, "Come to me." Bring your weariness, bring your burdens, bring your questions and your doubts and your fears. I'm not going anywhere. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. You are mine, and I am yours, and nothing will ever change that. This is the invitation that's been extended to your soul. This is the love that's been waiting patiently for you to stop running long enough to be caught, to stop hiding long enough to be found, to stop scrolling long enough to be embraced. The question isn't whether God loves you. He does, completely, unconditionally, eternally. The question isn't whether you're worthy of that love. You are, not because of what you've done, but because of who you are to Him. The question isn't whether this love is real. It is, more real than anything you'll ever experience. The only question that matters is this: will you stop scrolling long enough to let this love embrace your soul? Will you put down the phone, quiet the noise, still the restless searching, and simply receive what's already being offered? Will you let yourself be loved the way you were created to be loved? Fully, freely, forever? Because once you really let this love in, once you allow it to penetrate every broken place, every wounded space, every area of your heart that's been closed off and protected and guarded, that's when you'll discover what your soul has been searching for all along. That's when you'll find the peace that surpasses understanding, the joy that's inexpressible, the love that never fails. And that's when everything changes. Not just your circumstances, though they might. Not just your relationships, though they will be transformed. Not just your perspective, though it will be radically shifted. What changes is you, from the inside out, from the deepest places of your soul to the most practical areas of your daily life. When you know you're loved like this, when you understand your true identity, when you grasp your incredible worth, you can't help but live differently. You start showing up differently in the world, not because you're trying to prove something, but because you finally know something. You know who you are. You know whose you are. You know that your value isn't tied to your productivity. Your worth isn't measured by your achievements. Your significance isn't determined by other people's opinions of you. And when you live from that place of deep security, when you operate from that foundation of unshakable love, something beautiful happens. You stop needing validation from every interaction. You stop seeking approval from every relationship. You stop measuring your worth by how many likes your posts get, how many people notice your accomplishments, how much applause follows your efforts. You become free to love others without needing them to love you back in a specific way. You become free to serve without keeping score. You become free to give without calculating what you'll receive in return. You become free to be yourself without apologizing for who you are or trying to become who you think others want you to be. This is what happens when divine love transforms human living. This is what occurs when eternal truth rewrites temporal lies. This is the supernatural shift that takes place when you finally understand that you're not fighting for love, you're fighting from love. But I want to address something that might be stirring in your heart right now. Maybe you're thinking, this sounds incredible, but I've tried religion before and it didn't work. Maybe you're remembering negative experiences with churches, with religious people, with systems that made you feel more condemned than loved, more judged than accepted, more excluded than welcomed. Let me be crystal clear about something. What I'm talking about isn't religion. Religion is humanity's attempt to reach God through rules, rituals, and righteousness. What I'm describing is relationship, God's initiative to reach humanity through grace, mercy, and love. Religion says, do this and God will love you. Relationship says, God loves you, now you can do this. Religion is about earning. Relationship is about receiving. Religion creates pressure. Relationship creates peace. Religion builds walls. Relationship builds bridges. Religion says you have to clean up your life before you can come to God. Relationship says, come to God and He'll help you clean up your life. Religion is exhausting because it's all about your effort. Relationship is restful because it's all about His grace. So if you've been wounded by religion, if you've been hurt by people who claim to represent God, but instead represented judgment, condemnation, and exclusion, I'm sorry. That's not the heart of your Heavenly Father. That's not the character of the one who made you. That's not the nature of the love that's pursuing your soul. The God I'm talking about doesn't look anything like the harsh, demanding, impossible-to-please deity that religion often presents. The God who loves you is gentle with your questions, patient with your process, kind with your confusion, compassionate with your struggles. He's not standing over you with a clipboard, marking down every mistake. He's not keeping a record of your wrongs so He can use them against you later. He's not waiting for you to fail so He can say, I told you so. He's the God who runs toward the prodigal son while he's still far off. He's the God who leaves the 99 to find the one. He's the God who calls the woman caught in adultery beloved and tells her accusers to examine their own hearts. He's the God who touches the untouchable, loves the unlovable, chooses the unchosen. This is the God who sees you right now, in this moment, with all your complexity and contradiction, with all your beauty and brokenness, with all your faith and fear. And His heart is overwhelmed with love for you, not the version of you that you're trying to become, not the person you think you should be. You, right now, today, in your mess, in your questions, in your struggles. Because here's what religion gets wrong, and relationship gets right. God doesn't love you because you're good. God's love makes you good. God doesn't choose you because you're worthy. God's choice makes you worthy. God doesn't accept you because you measure up. God's acceptance changes the measurement altogether. This is why your soul has been restless. This is why nothing else has satisfied the deepest longings of your heart. This is why you keep scrolling, keep searching, keep consuming, hoping that the next thing will finally be the thing that brings peace to your spirit. Because you were created for this connection. You were designed for this relationship. You were made for this love. And until you find your rest in the one who made you, until you discover your identity in the one who chose you, until you experience the embrace of the one who loves you unconditionally, your soul will continue to wander, continue to search, continue to scroll through life, looking for something that can only be found in Him. But here's the beautiful mystery. While you've been searching for God, He's been orchestrating every moment of your life to draw you to Himself. Every joy that's made your heart soar, every beauty that's taken your breath away, every moment of unexpected kindness, every glimpse of hope in dark seasons. Those were love letters from heaven, written specifically to your heart, designed to awaken something deep inside you that whispers, there's more, there's someone, there's a love beyond anything you've ever known. Even your pain, even your struggles, even your darkest moments, God has been using all of it to create a hunger in your soul for something real, something lasting, something that won't disappoint or abandon or betray. He's been using every broken relationship to show you your need for a perfect love. He's been using every failed attempt to find satisfaction in temporary things to create a longing for eternal fulfillment. He's been using every moment of emptiness to prepare space in your heart for His fullness. This isn't manipulation. This isn't some cosmic game where God creates problems just so He can solve them. This is love. Patient, persistent, pursuing love that refuses to give up on you, that will use every circumstance of your life to draw you closer to the truth of who you are and whose you are. Think about the most difficult season of your life. Think about that time when everything seemed to be falling apart, when you felt most alone, most afraid, most uncertain about the future. Even in that darkness, even in that pain, even in that confusion, there were moments, weren't there? Moments when something inside you knew you were going to make it through. Moments when hope flickered in the darkness. Moments when strength came from somewhere beyond yourself. That wasn't just positive thinking. That wasn't just your own resilience. That wasn't just lucky circumstance. That was love. Holding you, sustaining you, carrying you through what you couldn't carry alone. That was the same God who wants to embrace your soul right now, who was embracing your soul even then, even when you didn't know it, even when you couldn't feel it, even when you couldn't name it. He's been there all along. In your triumphs and your tragedies, in your celebrations and your sorrows, in your moments of clarity and your seasons of confusion. He's been whispering your name, calling you home, inviting you into the love your soul was created to experience. And here's what's absolutely incredible. This love doesn't just want to comfort you in your pain. This love wants to transform your pain. This love doesn't just want to help you survive your struggles. This love wants to use your struggles to shape you into someone even more beautiful than you were before. This love doesn't just want to get you through the darkness. This love wants to use the darkness to prepare you for a light so brilliant, so glorious, so magnificent that it will make every moment of struggle worth it. This is what redemption looks like. This is what it means for all things to work together for good. This is how God takes the broken pieces of your story and creates something beautiful, something meaningful, something that brings healing not just to you but to everyone your life touches. You see, once you've experienced this love, once you've been embraced by this grace, once you've discovered your true identity as God's beloved child, you become a carrier of that love to a world that's desperately hungry for it. You become living proof that transformation is possible, that healing is available, that no one is too broken to be restored. Your story doesn't end with your healing. Your story becomes a pathway for others to find their own healing. Your freedom becomes an invitation for others to discover their own freedom. Your joy becomes a testimony that joy is possible even in the midst of circumstances that seem joyless. This is the ripple effect of divine love. This is what happens when one soul stops scrolling long enough to be embraced by the love of God. It doesn't just change you, it changes everyone around you. Your peace becomes contagious. Your hope becomes infectious. Your love becomes irresistible. But it starts with you, right here, right now, in this moment. It starts with a decision to stop running, stop scrolling, stop searching for love in all the wrong places, and start receiving the love that's been waiting for you all along. It starts with a choice to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really are loved beyond anything you could ask or imagine. I know it's scary. I know it feels vulnerable to open your heart to something so vast, so infinite, so beyond your control. I know you've been hurt before by people who promised love but delivered disappointment. I know you've been let down by relationships that started with hope but ended with heartbreak. I know you've built walls around your heart to protect yourself from being wounded again. But what if those walls that you built to protect you are actually the very things that are keeping you from experiencing the love your soul is craving? What if the very defenses you've constructed to keep pain out are also keeping love out? What if the armor you've put on to shield yourself from hurt is also blocking the healing that wants to reach you? God's love isn't like human love. It's not fragile or fickle or conditional. It's not going to promise you one thing and deliver another. It's not going to change its mind about you based on your performance or your mood or your circumstances. This love is steady, secure, unchanging. This love is safe. And this love is inviting you right now to take the greatest risk of your life, the risk of being truly, completely, vulnerably loved. Not loved for what you can give, but loved for who you are. Not loved because you're perfect, but loved because you're perfectly imperfect. Not loved until you mess up, but loved especially when you mess up. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your opportunity to stop scrolling through life and start living the life you were created for. The life where you know beyond a shadow of doubt that you are seen, known, chosen, treasured, delighted in, and loved with an everlasting love that will never fade, never fail, never give up on you. All you have to do is say yes. All you have to do is stop running and let yourself be caught. All you have to do is put down your defenses and open your heart. All you have to do is receive what's already being offered. The love of God is ready to embrace your soul. The question is, are you ready to let it? Because I want to tell you something that might shake everything you thought you knew about this journey. You think this is about you finding God, but the truth is so much more beautiful than that. God has been orchestrating every detail of your life to find you. Every closed door that redirected your path, every unexpected encounter that shifted your perspective, every moment of synchronicity that made you pause and wonder, none of it was random. You've been leaving breadcrumbs your whole life, haven't you? Little clues that pointed to something bigger, something beyond what your eyes could see. That song that played at exactly the right moment when you needed hope. That stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear. That sunset that stopped you in your tracks and made you feel connected to something infinite. Those weren't coincidences. Those were love notes from heaven, written in the language your heart understands best. But here's what's going to absolutely wreck you in the most beautiful way possible. While you've been trying to figure out if you're good enough for God's love, while you've been wondering if you've done too much wrong or wandered too far away, while you've been questioning whether someone like you could ever be worthy of divine affection, God has been bragging about you. Let that sink in for a moment. The creator of the universe, the one who spoke stars into existence, the one who knows every grain of sand and every drop in the ocean. He talks about you, not in whispered apologies for your mistakes, not in hushed explanations of your shortcomings, but in bold declarations of his delight in you. He shows you off, he celebrates you, he points to you and says to all of heaven, "That's my child. Look at them. Look at their courage, their heart, their beautiful determination to keep going even when everything feels impossible." You know what's breaking my heart right now? It's that you don't know this about yourself. You don't see what he sees when he looks at you. You don't hear what he hears when you cry out in the middle of the night, thinking no one is listening. You don't understand the way his face lights up when you laugh, the way his heart swells when you show kindness to someone else, the way he leans in closer when you're wrestling with big questions about life and purpose and meaning. We've got this backwards, don't we? We think humility means thinking less of ourselves, making ourselves small, diminishing our worth, playing down our significance. But that's not humility. That's insecurity wearing a spiritual mask. True humility is seeing yourself the way God sees you and being amazed by his love, not amazed by your unworthiness. When you really understand how God sees you, when you grasp the magnitude of his affection for you, when you let the reality of your belovedness penetrate the deepest places of your identity, that's when humility becomes worship. Not because you're so small, but because his love is so big. Not because you're so broken, but because his grace is so complete. Not because you're so unworthy, but because his choice to love you is so overwhelming. And here's where everything gets turned upside down in the most beautiful way. This love that's pursuing you, this grace that's chasing after your heart, this acceptance that's waiting for you to receive it, it doesn't just change how you relate to God, it revolutionizes how you relate to yourself, to others, to your circumstances, to your past, to your future, to every single aspect of your existence. When you know you're loved like this, criticism loses its power to destroy you. Not because it doesn't hurt, it might still sting, but because your identity isn't tied to other people's opinions anymore. Your worth isn't determined by their approval or disapproval. Your value isn't subject to their moods or their judgments or their limited understanding of who you are. When you know you're chosen like this, rejection stops defining you. That job you didn't get, that relationship that ended, that dream that didn't work out the way you planned, none of those things can tell you who you are anymore. Because you know who you are. You're the one God chose before the foundation of the world. You're the one he had in mind when he created beauty and laughter and music and sunsets. You're the one he thought about and said, "Yes, this one. I want this one in my family." And when you know you're accepted like this, shame loses its grip on your soul. All those things you've done that you wish you could undo. All those words you've spoken that you wish you could take back. All those choices you've made that you wish you could remake. They're not the final word on your story anymore. Because grace gets the final word. Love gets the final word. Redemption gets the final word. But I need you to understand something crucial here. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't self-help dressed up in spiritual language. This isn't mind over matter or fake it till you make it or any other human attempt to manufacture confidence. This is revelation. This is truth being downloaded directly into your spirit. This is reality breaking through all the lies you've believed about yourself and showing you what's actually true. The enemy of your soul has been working overtime to convince you that you're ordinary, unremarkable, insignificant. He's been whispering lies about your past, your potential, your purpose. He's been magnifying your mistakes and minimizing your victories. He's been highlighting your weaknesses and hiding your strengths. He's been doing everything in his power to keep you from discovering the truth about who you really are. Because he knows something that maybe you don't know yet. He knows that once you truly understand your identity as God's beloved, once you really grasp the magnitude of your calling, Once you step into the fullness of who you were created to be, you become dangerous to his kingdom of darkness. You become a threat to every lie he's been telling, every chain he's been using to bind people, every scheme he's been using to steal joy and hope and purpose from human hearts. When you know who you are, you start helping other people remember who they are. When you're secure in your belovedness, you start calling out the belovedness in others. When you're walking in freedom, you start helping other people break free from whatever's been holding them captive. When you're living from love instead of fear, you become a carrier of that love to everyone whose life you touch. This is what transformation looks like. Not just personal transformation, though. That absolutely happens. I'm talking about generational transformation, cultural transformation. The kind of transformation that happens when one person gets so filled up with the love of God that it starts spilling over onto everyone around them. Think about the people in your life who have impacted you the most. Think about those individuals who somehow made you feel more alive, more hopeful, more capable, more loved just by being in their presence. What was different about them? What set them apart? I guarantee you it wasn't their perfection. It wasn't their ability to have all the answers or solve all the problems or present a flawless image to the world. What made them different was their security, their peace, their ability to love without keeping score, to give without calculating what they'd receive in return, to show up authentically without apologizing for who they were. What made them different was that they knew something about themselves that gave them a foundation that couldn't be shaken, a confidence that wasn't dependent on circumstances, a joy that wasn't determined by external factors. They had encountered the love that I'm talking about. They had experienced this embrace. They had discovered their true identity and learned to live from that place of deep knowing, rather than from the surface level of what other people thought about them or what their circumstances seemed to suggest about their worth. And now they were walking around as living proof that this kind of life is possible. They became testimonies to the transforming power of divine love. They became invitations for others to experience what they had experienced, to know what they had come to know, to receive what they had received. This is what's available to you. This is what's being offered to your soul right now. Not just comfort in your pain, though that's absolutely part of it. Not just help in your struggles, though he'll absolutely help you through whatever you're facing. Not just answers to your questions, though he loves your curiosity and your desire to understand. What's being offered is complete transformation. What's available is a new way of seeing yourself, seeing others, seeing your life, seeing your past, seeing your future, seeing your purpose. What's possible is a life lived from such a deep place of security and love and acceptance that nothing can shake it, nothing can steal it, nothing can diminish it. But here's what I need you to understand about this transformation. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a one-time experience that suddenly makes everything perfect. It's not a magic formula that eliminates all struggle or removes all difficulty from your life. This is a journey, a process, a lifelong adventure of discovering more and more about who God is and who you are in relationship to Him. There will be days when you feel the reality of this love so strongly that you could climb mountains. And there will be days when doubt creeps in, and you wonder if it's really true, if you really matter, if this love is really as constant as you thought it was. Both of those experiences are normal. Both are part of the journey. Both are opportunities to go deeper, to learn more, to experience more of this incredible love that never changes even when your feelings do. The goal isn't to reach some place where you never struggle, never doubt, never feel confused or overwhelmed. The goal is to learn to live from a place of such deep security in God's love that you can face the struggles, work through the doubts, navigate the confusion with a foundation that can't be moved. When the storms come, and they will come, you won't be asking, "Does God still love me?" You'll be saying, "God loves me, so how do we get through this together?" When disappointments happen, and they will happen, you won't be wondering, Am I still valuable? You'll be knowing, I'm valuable, so what can I learn from this experience? When people hurt you, and they will hurt you, you won't be questioning, am I worth loving? You'll be secure in the knowledge, I am loved, so I can choose to forgive and love anyway. This is what it means to be anchored. This is what it looks like to have a foundation that can't be shaken. This is what happens when your identity is rooted in something deeper than your circumstances, stronger than other people's opinions, more permanent than your feelings, more reliable than your performance. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop trying so hard to be loved, you become more lovable. When you stop desperately seeking acceptance, you become more accepting. When you stop needing validation from everyone around you, you become more validating to others. When you stop performing for approval, you become more approving of people who are struggling to perform. This is the overflow of divine love. This is what happens when you've been so filled up that you can't help but spill over onto everyone around you. This is how love multiplies, how grace spreads, how the kingdom of heaven advances one heart at a time. But it starts with you saying yes to this invitation. It starts with you choosing to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really are as loved as I'm telling you you are. It starts with you taking the risk of opening your heart to receive something so beautiful, so vast, so transformative, that it will change absolutely everything about how you see yourself and how you move through the world. I know you're scared. I know it feels too good to be true. I know you've been disappointed before by promises that weren't kept, by love that turned out to be conditional, by acceptance that was revoked when you didn't meet expectations. I know you've built walls around your heart, and those walls feel safe, familiar, protective. But what if those walls are also keeping you from the very thing your soul is crying out for? What if the protection you've created is also preventing the connection you're desperately seeking? What if the barriers you've built to keep pain out are also blocking the love that wants to get in? God's love isn't like human love. It's not fragile or temporary or conditional. It won't promise you the moon and then disappear when you need it most. It won't tell you you're special and then change its mind when you make a mistake. It won't make you feel chosen and then abandon you when someone better comes along. This love is steady. This love is sure. This love is safe. This love has been tested by time, proven by sacrifice, demonstrated through countless acts of mercy and grace and kindness. This love sent Jesus to die for you before you were even born, before you had done anything good or bad, simply because you were you and you were loved. That's the depth of this love. That's the security of this acceptance. That's the permanence of this choice to include you in the family of God. It's not based on your performance. It's based on His character. It's not determined by your worthiness. It's determined by His decision. It's not dependent on your ability to maintain it. It's dependent on His promise to never let you go. So what are you waiting for? What's keeping you from saying yes to this invitation? What's holding you back from stepping into the embrace that's been waiting for you your entire life? Maybe you're thinking you need to get your life together first. Maybe you're convinced you need to stop struggling with certain things before you can come to God. Maybe you believe you need to clean up your act, fix your problems, become a better person before you're worthy of this kind of love. That's backwards thinking. That's human reasoning trying to make sense of divine logic. That's performance-based mentality, trying to understand grace-based reality. You don't clean up your life, so God will love you. God loves you so you can clean up your life. You don't fix your problems, so you can come to Him. You come to Him, and He helps you work through your problems. You don't become a better person, so you can be accepted. You're accepted, and that acceptance transforms you into the person you were always meant to be. Come as you are. Bring your mess. Bring your questions, bring your doubts and your fears and your confusion, bring your mistakes and your regrets and your shame. Bring your broken dreams and your shattered expectations and your wounded heart. Bring all of it, because all of it is welcome. All of it is seen. All of it is loved. This is your moment. Right here, right now, in the middle of whatever you're facing, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're struggling with, this is your moment to stop scrolling, stop running, stop hiding, and let yourself be found by the love that's been searching for you. This is your invitation to step into the embrace that will change everything. This is your opportunity to discover what your soul has been hungering for, what your heart has been aching for, what your spirit has been searching for in every swipe, every click, every desperate attempt to fill the void that only God can fill. The love of God is ready to embrace your soul. The arms of your Heavenly Father are wide open, waiting for you to run into them. The heart of your Creator is bursting with affection for you, longing for you to know just how much you mean to Him. All you have to do is receive it. All you have to do is let yourself be loved. So stop scrolling and receive it. Right now, in this sacred moment where eternity touches time, where divine love meets human longing, where the God of the universe leans down to whisper your name, receive it. Let that truth sink past your defenses, past your doubts, past every lie you've believed about yourself. Let it settle into the deepest places of your soul, where you've been hiding, where you've been hurting, where you've been hoping against hope that maybe someone, somewhere, could love the real you. Because here's what I need you to know. The real you is exactly who God loves. Not the polished version you present on social media, not the filtered, carefully curated image you've crafted to gain approval. Not the person you think you should be, or wish you were, or are trying to become. The real you, the messy, complicated, beautifully human you. The you that exists at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep because your mind won't stop racing. The you that cries in the shower where no one can see. The you that dreams big dreams but is terrified to pursue them because what if you fail? That's who He loves. And I know this is hard to believe because we live in a world that's taught us love is earned, not given. We've been conditioned to believe that affection is a reward for good behavior, that acceptance comes after we prove ourselves worthy, that someone's heart toward us fluctuates based on our performance. But that's not how divine love works. That's not the nature of the one who made you. His love for you is like the sun. It doesn't shine because you've done something to deserve it. It shines because that's its nature. It's constant, unwavering, life-giving. It doesn't turn off when clouds cover it. It doesn't diminish when you can't see it. It doesn't disappear when storms rage. It's always there, always shining, always pouring out light and warmth and life, regardless of whether you're paying attention to it or not. That's how God loves you. Not because you've earned it, but because love is who He is. Not because you deserve it, but because giving love is His nature. Not because you're perfect, but because His love makes you perfect in His eyes. This love isn't fragile or conditional or temporary. It's not going anywhere. It's not changing its mind about you. It's not waiting for you to mess up so it can withdraw. This love is pursuing you right now, in this very moment, with an intensity that would overwhelm you if you could fully comprehend it. While you've been scrolling through your phone looking for something to make you feel valued, while you've been consuming content, hoping to find something that would make you feel significant, while you've been desperately trying to fill that aching void inside your chest, this love has been calling your name. It's been speaking through every sunset that stopped you in your tracks. It's been whispering through every song that gave you chills. It's been reaching out through every unexpected kindness, every moment of beauty, every glimpse of something transcendent that made your soul say, there has to be more than this. There is more. There is someone. And He's been trying to get your attention your entire life. But here's what's absolutely staggering. While you've been trying to get his attention through your good works, your religious activities, your attempts to be a better person, he's already been captivated by you. While you've been wondering if you matter to God, he's been thinking about you constantly. While you've been questioning whether someone like you could ever be significant to the creator of the universe, he's been planning your purpose, orchestrating your steps, working all things together for your good. You matter to him in ways you can't even imagine. Your thoughts matter to him, your dreams matter to him, your fears matter to him, your struggles matter to him. That thing you're worried about right now that keeps you up at night, he cares about it. That dream you've buried because you don't think you're capable enough to pursue it, he planted it there. That fear you can't seem to shake. He wants to walk through it with you. You're not bothering him when you bring your problems to him. You're not annoying him when you ask him the same questions over and over again. You're not wearing out his patience when you struggle with the same issues repeatedly. He's not rolling his eyes when you come to him with your concerns. He's not sighing in frustration when you need his help again. He delights in your dependence on him. He loves it when you turn to him first instead of trying to figure everything out on your own. He celebrates when you choose to trust him with your worries instead of carrying them alone. He rejoices when you invite him into your daily life instead of only talking to him in emergencies. This is the kind of relationship he wants with you. Not formal, distant, religious, intimate, personal, real. He wants to be involved in every aspect of your life. Your work, your relationships, your decisions, your dreams, your struggles, your joys. He wants you to talk to him like he's your best friend, your wise counselor, your loving father, your trusted companion, because that's who he is to you. He's not just the distant creator who set the universe in motion and stepped back to watch. He's not just the cosmic force that keeps the planets in orbit. He's your father, personal, intimate, deeply invested in every detail of your life. He knows how many hairs are on your head. He keeps track of every tear you've cried. He's collected every prayer you've whispered in desperation, every cry you've uttered in pain, every word of gratitude you've spoken in joy. And here's what's going to absolutely wreck you in the most beautiful way. He's been answering your prayers all along. Maybe not in the way you expected, maybe not in the timing you wanted, maybe not in the package you thought it would come in, but he's been answering. Every door that closed was him protecting you from something that wasn't meant for you. Every delay was him preparing something better. Every disappointment was him redirecting your path towards something greater. He sees the whole story of your life, past, present, and future. He knows how everything fits together, how every experience has shaped you, how every struggle has strengthened you, how every setback has set you up for something magnificent. What looks like chaos to you looks like a masterpiece to him. What feels like random suffering to you is actually strategic preparation for the purpose he's called you to. Your pain has not been pointless. Your struggles have not been meaningless. Your questions have not been bothersome. Your journey has not been a series of mistakes and wrong turns. It's all been part of his plan to shape you into who you're becoming, to prepare you for what he's prepared for you, to develop in you the character and compassion and wisdom you'll need for the destiny he's designed for you. But you'll never see this clearly while you're constantly in motion, constantly distracted, constantly consuming. You'll never hear his voice above the noise of this world. You'll never feel his presence in the midst of all the chaos. You have to stop. You have to be still. You have to create space for him to speak, room for him to move, silence for him to whisper the words your soul needs to hear. This is why the invitation to stop scrolling is so crucial. It's not just about putting down your phone, though that might be part of it. It's about stopping the frantic pace of life that keeps you running from one thing to the next without ever pausing to ask what really matters, what's really true, what's really lasting. It's about creating margin in your life for the sacred, space in your schedule for the significant, time in your day for the eternal. Because in that stillness, in that sacred silence, in that holy pause, that's where you'll encounter the love that changes everything. That's where you'll hear the voice that speaks your name with tenderness. That's where you'll feel the presence that makes you whole. That's where you'll discover that what you've been searching for has been searching for you. And when that happens, when you finally experience the embrace your soul has been craving, when you finally understand the depth of love that's been pursuing you, when you finally grasp your true identity as God's beloved child, everything shifts. Not just your circumstances, though they may change, not just your relationships, though they will be transformed, not just your perspective, though it will be radically altered. What shifts is the very foundation of your existence. You stop living from a place of lack and start living from abundance. You stop operating from scarcity and start functioning from sufficiency. You stop striving from emptiness and start serving from fullness. You stop seeking validation and start giving it. You stop needing approval and start offering it. You stop demanding love and start delivering it. This is what happens when you know you're loved unconditionally. You become capable of loving others unconditionally. This is what occurs when you understand you're accepted completely. You become able to accept others completely. This is what takes place when you grasp that you're forgiven fully. You become willing to forgive others fully. The love you receive becomes the love you give. The grace you experience becomes the grace you extend. The mercy you've been shown becomes the mercy you show. You become a conduit of divine love, a channel of heavenly grace, a vessel of supernatural peace in a world that's desperate for all three. But it doesn't stop there. This transformation isn't just about you becoming a better person, though that absolutely happens. It's about you becoming a catalyst for transformation in the lives of everyone around you. Your peace becomes contagious. Your joy becomes infectious. Your love becomes irresistible. People start noticing something different about you. They can't quite put their finger on it, but there's something in your eyes, something in your voice, something in your presence that draws them. It's not that you're perfect. If anything, you're more honest about your imperfections than ever before. It's not that you have all the answers. You're more comfortable with questions than you used to be. It's not that your life is problem-free. You still face challenges and difficulties. What's different is your foundation. What's changed is your security. What's new is your peace. You're no longer frantically trying to prove your worth because you know your value. You're no longer desperately seeking love because you've found it. You're no longer anxiously pursuing acceptance because you've received it. You're no longer restlessly scrolling through life because you've found what you were looking for. And that security, that peace, that deep sense of being loved and chosen and valued, it radiates from you. It touches everyone you encounter. It influences every interaction you have. It transforms every relationship you're part of. Not because you're trying to change people, but because you've been changed. Not because you're pushing an agenda, but because you're living from a different place. You become living proof that this kind of life is possible. You become a walking testimony to the transforming power of divine love. You become an invitation for others to experience what you've experienced, to know what you've come to know, to receive what you've received. This is the ripple effect of one soul saying yes to God's love. This is what happens when one person stops scrolling long enough to be embraced by the love that changes everything. This is how the kingdom of heaven advances, one heart at a time, one life at a time, one transformation at a time. And it starts with you, right here, right now, in this moment. It starts with you choosing to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really are as loved as I'm telling you you are. It starts with you deciding to receive what's being offered instead of trying to earn what's already been given. It starts with you opening your heart to the possibility that the God of the universe is madly, passionately, relentlessly in love with you. Not the version of you that you're trying to become. Not the person you think you should be. Not the individual you hope to be someday. You, right now, today. in your mess, in your questions, in your struggles, in your imperfections. This you, the real you, the beautifully broken, wonderfully complex, perfectly imperfect you. This is who God loves. This is who He's been pursuing. This is who He wants to embrace with a love so deep, so wide, so high, so overwhelming that it will heal every wound, answer every question, fill every void, satisfy every longing, calm every fear, and give meaning to every moment of your existence. The only question that remains is this: will you let Him? Will you stop running long enough to be caught? Will you stop hiding long enough to be found? Will you stop scrolling long enough to be embraced by the love your soul was created to experience? Because He's waiting, right now, with arms wide open, heart full of love, eyes full of compassion. He's not going anywhere. He's not changing His mind. He's not giving up on you. He's standing at the door of your heart, knocking gently, waiting patiently for you to open it and let Him in. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your opportunity to discover what you've been searching for all along. Not in the next scroll, not in the next video, not in the next distraction, but in the embrace of the one who made you, who knows you, who loves you beyond anything you could ask or imagine. Stop scrolling, beloved one. Your soul is calling you home, and home is in the arms of the one who has been waiting for you to stop running long enough to realize that you've been loved all along. The love that's waiting to embrace your soul isn't asking you to understand it before you experience it. It's not requiring you to figure out all the theological implications before you receive it. It's not demanding that you have perfect faith before you step into it. This love is saying, come and see, taste and discover, experience and then understand. Because here's the thing about divine love that sets it apart from everything else you've ever encountered. It's not just an emotion or a feeling or a concept you can grasp with your mind. It's a reality you enter into. It's a dimension you step into. It's a way of existing that transforms not just how you feel about yourself, but how you experience every moment of your life. When this love embraces your soul, time itself begins to feel different. Those moments that used to drag by in anxiety and worry suddenly become opportunities for trust and peace. Those seasons that used to feel empty and meaningless suddenly become pregnant with purpose and possibility. Those experiences that used to leave you feeling drained and depleted suddenly become sources of strength and wisdom. It's like you've been living your entire life in black and white, and suddenly someone hands you a pair of glasses that reveals the world in full color. Everything looks different. Everything feels different. Everything means something different. Not because the world has changed, but because you've stepped into a new way of seeing, a new way of being, a new way of experiencing reality. And here's what's absolutely remarkable about this transformation. It doesn't eliminate the challenges of life. It doesn't remove all difficulty or struggle or pain. What it does is give you a different context for those experiences. What it provides is a secure foundation from which to navigate whatever comes your way. When storms hit your life, and they will hit, you're no longer asking, why is this happening to me? You're asking, what is this teaching me? When disappointments come, and they will come, you're no longer wondering, am I being punished? You're trusting something better is being prepared. Mototi, when people hurt you, and they will hurt you, you're no longer questioning what's wrong with me. You're knowing this is about them, not about my worth. This is what it means to be anchored in love. This is what it looks like to have your identity rooted in something deeper than circumstances. This is what happens when you stop deriving your sense of self from external validation and start drawing from an internal well that never runs dry. But I want to tell you something that might surprise you. This love that's pursuing you, this grace that's chasing after your heart, this acceptance that's waiting for you to receive it, it's not just interested in making you feel better about yourself. It's not just concerned with boosting your self-esteem or helping you through tough times or giving you comfort in moments of pain. This love has a much bigger agenda than that. This love is interested in awakening you to who you really are. Not just loved, though you absolutely are. Not just chosen, though you definitely are. Not just accepted, though you completely are. This love wants you to discover that you are a carrier of divine DNA. You are a walking miracle. You are a living testimony to the creative genius of God. You were designed to be a reflection of heaven on earth. You were created to be a demonstration of what's possible when divine love intersects with human potential. You were formed to be a preview of the kingdom of God, a glimpse of what life looks like when it's lived in perfect harmony with the heart of your Creator. This isn't religious language or spiritual platitudes. This is the reality of who you are and what you were made for. You are not just a random collection of atoms that happen to develop consciousness. You are not just an accident of evolution that somehow learned to think and feel and dream. You are an intentional creation of the most creative force in the universe, designed with specific gifts, specific purposes, specific contributions that only you can make. And here's what's been breaking God's heart. You've been settling for so much less than what you were created for. You've been accepting mediocrity when you were designed for magnificence. You've been embracing limitation when you were built for expansion. You've been choosing survival when you were created for abundant life. It's like you're a Ferrari that's been sitting in the garage, never taken out on the open road, never allowed to experience the thrill of what you were engineered for. It's like you're a Stradivarius violin that's been hanging on the wall as decoration, never touched by the hands of a master musician, never allowed to produce the beautiful music you were crafted to create. You were made for more than scrolling through other people's highlight reels. You were designed for more than consuming endless content that leaves you feeling empty. You were created for more than the numbing cycle of distraction and entertainment that keeps you running from the very thing your soul is crying out for. You were made to create, not just consume. You were designed to contribute, not just take. You were formed to love deeply, serve passionately, dream boldly, live fully. You were created to be a force for good in this world, a source of hope for people who have lost their way, a beacon of light for those who are walking in darkness. But none of this can happen while you're living from a place of insecurity, constantly questioning your worth, perpetually seeking validation from sources that can never satisfy the deepest longings of your heart. None of this can manifest while you're trapped in cycles of comparison, measuring your value by how you stack up against others, defining your significance by metrics that have nothing to do with who you really are. This is why the invitation to let God's love embrace your soul is so crucial. This is why stopping the endless scrolling and starting the sacred receiving is so important. Because until you know who you are, you can't become who you were meant to be. Until you understand your worth, you can't step into your purpose. Until you grasp your identity, you can't fulfill your destiny. And your destiny is magnificent. Your purpose is profound. Your calling is extraordinary. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're uniquely you. Not because you're more talented or more gifted or more special than other people, but because there's something specific that you were created to contribute to the world that no one else can contribute in quite the same way. Your perspective is needed. Your voice matters. Your story has power. Your gifts are necessary. Your heart has something to offer that this world desperately needs, but you'll never know this as long as you're living from a place of insecurity and self-doubt. You'll never step into your calling as long as you're paralyzed by fear and uncertainty about your worth. This is what happens when divine love transforms human insecurity. This is what occurs when eternal truth overwrites temporal lies. This is what takes place when you finally understand that you're not fighting for significance. You already have it. You're not striving for purpose. It's already been given to you. You're not searching for meaning. It's woven into the very fabric of who you are. When you know you're loved unconditionally, you become free to love others without fear of rejection. When you understand you're accepted completely, you become able to accept others without judgment. When you grasp that you're forgiven fully, you become willing to forgive others without resentment. When you realize you're chosen specifically, you become capable of choosing others without condition. This is the multiplication effect of divine love. This is how transformation spreads from one heart to another, one life to another, one family to another, one community to another. It's not through programs or systems or strategies. It's through people who have been so transformed by love that they can't help but transform the atmosphere wherever they go. You become a carrier of peace in chaotic environments. You become a source of hope in hopeless situations. You become a voice of truth in confusing circumstances. You become a demonstration of what's possible when someone discovers their true identity and starts living from that place of deep security and unshakable love. But here's what's absolutely crucial for you to understand. This isn't something you work up to. This isn't a reward you earn after years of spiritual discipline and religious activity. This isn't a level you achieve after you've proven yourself worthy or demonstrated your commitment or showed that you really mean it this time. This is a gift that's being offered to you right now. This is an inheritance that's already yours. This is an identity that's been waiting for you to claim it. This is a love that's been pursuing you your entire life, and it's finally caught up to you in this moment, in this place, through these words that are piercing through every defense you've built and speaking directly to the core of who you are. You don't have to earn this. You don't have to deserve this. You don't have to prove you're ready for this. You just have to receive it. You just have to open your hands and let it be placed in your palms. You just have to open your heart and let it fill every empty space, heal every wounded place, restore every broken place. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about all the reasons why this couldn't possibly be true for you. You're remembering all the things you've done wrong, all the ways you've failed, all the times you've disappointed yourself and others. You're cataloging your mistakes, your weaknesses, your shortcomings, your imperfections. But what if I told you that God already knows all of that? What if I told you that He's seen every mistake you've made and still thinks you're worth everything? What if I told you that He's witnessed every failure and still believes in your potential? What if I told you that He's observed every weakness and still sees incredible strength in you? Your past doesn't disqualify you from this love. It qualifies you for it. Your mistakes don't make you unworthy of grace. They make you a perfect candidate for it. Your brokenness doesn't exclude you from healing. It creates space for miraculous restoration. Your struggles don't prove you're beyond help. They prove you need exactly what's being offered. This is the scandalous nature of divine love. It doesn't love you because you're good. It makes you good because it loves you. It doesn't choose you because you're worthy. It makes you worthy by choosing you. It doesn't accept you because you measure up. It changes the measuring stick altogether. And here's what's going to absolutely revolutionize your understanding of yourself and your relationship with God. He doesn't just tolerate your humanity. He celebrates it. He doesn't just put up with your imperfections. He delights in them. He doesn't just overlook your quirks and flaws and idiosyncrasies. He finds them endearing. You know how you feel when you watch a child learning to walk? How your heart swells with pride and affection every time they take a wobbly step, every time they fall down and get back up, every time they reach for you with complete trust that you'll be there to catch them. That's how God feels about you every day. In every struggle, through every attempt to figure life out, to do better, to become more like who you sense you're meant to be. He's not standing over you with a clipboard, marking down every misstep. He's not keeping a record of your failures, so he can use them against you later. He's not disappointed in your progress, or frustrated with your questions, or annoyed by your need for reassurance. He's cheering you on. He's celebrating every small victory. He's proud of your courage to keep going, even when everything feels impossible. This is your Father's heart toward you. Not stern, demanding, impossible to please. Gentle, patient, quick to encourage, slow to criticize, always ready to help you back up when you fall, always believing in your potential even when you can't see it yourself. And this is what changes everything. When you really understand the heart of your Heavenly Father toward you, when you grasp the tenderness in His eyes, when He looks at you, when you feel the warmth in His voice when He speaks your name, that's when you stop trying so hard to be perfect and start resting in being loved. That's when you stop exhausting yourself trying to earn approval and start enjoying the approval that's already yours. That's when you stop living in fear of disappointing God and start living in the joy of delighting Him simply by being who you are. Because here's the truth that will set you free from every chain of performance and perfectionism that's been binding your soul. You already delight Him. Right now, today, in your mess, in your questions, in your struggles, in your imperfections, you don't delight Him because you have it all figured out. You delight Him because you're His. You don't bring Him joy because you never make mistakes. You bring Him joy because you're learning, growing, becoming. You don't make Him proud because you're flawless. You make Him proud because you're authentic, because you keep showing up, because you keep trying, because you keep trusting Him even when you don't understand what He's doing. This is what it means to be a beloved child. This is what it looks like to be part of God's family. This is what it feels like to be embraced by a love that sees all your flaws and chooses to love you not in spite of them, but including them, because they're part of what makes you uniquely, wonderfully, perfectly you. And when you start living from this place of deep security and unshakable love, when you begin operating from this foundation of being completely known and completely accepted, everything in your life starts to shift. Your relationships become more authentic because you're no longer hiding parts of yourself or pretending to be someone you're not. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're no longer trying to prove your worth through your productivity. You're serving from a place of love and gratitude. Your decisions become clearer because you're no longer making choices based on fear of what others will think or anxiety about whether you'll be accepted. You're making choices from a place of wisdom and peace, knowing that your worth isn't tied to outcomes, that your identity isn't dependent on success or failure. Your dreams become bigger because you're no longer limited by your own sense of inadequacy or unworthiness. You start believing that maybe, just maybe, those desires that have been stirring in your heart aren't just wishful thinking. They're invitations to step into the purpose you were created for. Your peace becomes deeper because you're no longer constantly worried about earning or maintaining God's love. You know it's already yours. You know it's not going anywhere. You know that nothing you could do would make Him love you more, and nothing you could do would make Him love you less. This is what freedom looks like. This is what security feels like. This is what it means to live from a place of rest instead of striving, abundance instead of scarcity, love instead of fear. This is what happens when you finally understand that the embrace you've been searching for has been available all along. You just had to stop running long enough to receive it. So here's my invitation to you, beloved one. Here's my challenge to your soul. Here's my plea to your heart that's been running and searching and scrolling and consuming, desperately trying to fill a void that only God can fill. Stop. Just stop. Right here, right now, in this sacred moment where time meets eternity, where human longing meets divine love, where your desperate search collides with His patient pursuit, stop running and let yourself be found. Stop hiding behind your accomplishments and let yourself be seen. Stop performing for approval and let yourself be loved. Stop trying to earn what's already been given and let yourself receive the gift that's been waiting for you your entire life. The love of God is ready to embrace your soul. Not tomorrow when you get your act together, not next week when you've figured out all your issues, not someday when you finally become the person you think you should be. Right now, today, in this moment. With all your beautiful brokenness and magnificent messiness and wonderful imperfection, this is your moment to discover what your soul has been hungering for. This is your opportunity to experience the embrace that will change everything. This is your invitation to step into the love that will transform not just how you see yourself, but how you see everything. Your past, your present, your future, your purpose, your potential, your possibilities. All you have to do is say yes. All you have to do is open your heart. All you have to do is receive what's being offered. The love that created the stars knows your name. The hands that hold the universe want to hold you. The heart that beats with compassion for all creation is beating with love for you. Stop scrolling, precious soul. Your search is over. You've found what you were looking for, or rather what you were looking for has found you. The love of God is here, ready to embrace your soul and show you what it really means to be fully known, completely accepted, and eternally loved. This is your Damascus Road moment. This is your burning bush encounter. This is your Jacob wrestling with the angel until daybreak experience. Not because you've done anything to deserve it, but because love has been orchestrating every detail of your story to bring you to this precise instant where everything can change. And I need you to understand something that will shatter every religious box you've ever tried to put God in. He's not waiting for you to clean up your language before he speaks to you. He's not requiring you to fix your habits before he embraces you. He's not demanding that you understand theology before he reveals his heart. He's meeting you exactly where you are, speaking your language, understanding your struggles, seeing past every wall you've built to the treasure that's been buried beneath layers of pain and disappointment and self-protection. You think you're too complicated for simple love, but complexity is exactly what makes you beautiful to him. You think you're too damaged for pure grace, but your brokenness creates the perfect space for his healing. You think you're too far gone for fresh starts, but his mercies are new every morning, and this morning, this moment, is your invitation to begin again. Here's what's going to blow your mind about this love that's pursuing you. It doesn't just want to comfort you in your current circumstances. It wants to completely rewrite your story. Not by erasing the chapters you wish you could forget, but by revealing how every single page, even the ones stained with tears, even the ones you tore out in anger, even the ones you tried to hide from everyone including yourself, has been building toward this moment of recognition. You are not a rough draft. You are not a work in progress that might never be finished. You are not a project that God started but might abandon if you don't show enough improvement. You are a masterpiece in the making, and every brushstroke of joy and sorrow, every color of triumph and defeat, every texture of strength and vulnerability has been carefully applied by the master artist who never makes mistakes. But here's where most people get stuck in this journey of discovering divine love. They think it's supposed to make sense to their logical mind before their heart can receive it. They think they need to understand the mechanics of grace before they can experience the reality of it. They think they have to figure out all the theological implications before they can simply rest in the truth that they are loved beyond measure. That's backwards thinking. That's trying to understand the ocean by analyzing a single drop of water. That's attempting to comprehend the sun by studying a photograph of its light. Some realities are too vast to be grasped by the mind alone. Some truths are too profound to be contained by human reasoning. Some experiences are too transformative to be explained before they're encountered. Divine love is one of those realities. You don't think your way into it. You fall into it. You don't earn your way into it. You're invited into it. You don't work your way into it. You rest your way into it. It's like trying to taste honey by reading about sweetness. or trying to feel warmth by studying the physics of fire, or trying to experience music by analyzing sound waves. At some point, you have to stop analyzing and start receiving. You have to stop questioning and start trusting. You have to stop thinking and start feeling. You have to let your heart lead where your head has been afraid to follow. And I know that's terrifying for some of you. I know you've been hurt by people who told you to trust them and then betrayed that trust. I know you've been disappointed by promises that weren't kept, by love that turned out to be conditional, by acceptance that was revoked when you didn't meet expectations. I know you've learned to protect yourself by keeping everyone at arm's length, by never fully opening your heart, by always maintaining an escape route. But what if the very walls you've built to protect yourself are the prison that's been keeping you from the freedom your soul is crying out for? What if the armor you've put on to shield yourself from pain is also blocking the healing that wants to reach you? What if the distance you've created to avoid disappointment is also preventing the connection that could transform everything? God's love isn't like human love. It doesn't come with hidden agendas or unspoken expectations. It doesn't promise one thing and deliver another. It doesn't change its mind about you based on your performance or your mood or your circumstances. This love is steady when you're shaky. This love is certain when you're confused. This love is faithful when you're faithless. This love has been tested by time and proven by sacrifice. This love sent Jesus to die for you before you were born, before you had done anything good or bad, simply because you existed and you mattered. This love looked at the cost of redemption and said, "Worth it." This love calculated the price of your freedom and said, "I'll pay it." This love considered the sacrifice required for your healing and said, "I'll make it." That's the depth of this love. That's the security of this acceptance. That's the permanence of this choice to include you in the family of God. It's not based on your ability to reciprocate. It's based on His decision to initiate. It's not dependent on your capacity to understand. It's dependent on His commitment to reveal. It's not conditional on your power to maintain. It's conditional on His promise to sustain. So when doubt whispers that you're not good enough, remember that this love chose you before good and bad were even categories in your life. When fear suggests that you're too broken to be fixed, remember that this love specializes in making beautiful things out of broken pieces. When shame insists that you're too dirty to be clean, remember that this love washes whiter than snow and makes all things new. When loneliness convinces you that you're forgotten and abandoned, remember that this love has your name engraved on the palms of His hands. When despair argues that there's no hope for someone like you, remember that this love is the author of hope, the creator of possibility, the God who speaks life into dead situations and calls things that are not as though they were. This is the love that's been pursuing you through every season of your life. In your childhood, it was there in every moment of wonder, every experience of beauty, every glimpse of magic that made your heart believe in something bigger than what your eyes could see. In your teenage years, it was there in every dream that stirred your soul, every passion that ignited your spirit, every longing that pointed toward something more significant than the temporary. In your young adult years, it was there in every door that opened at just the right time, every person who appeared when you needed them most, every opportunity that aligned with your deepest desires. In your seasons of struggle, it was there in every small mercy, every unexpected kindness, every moment of strength that came from somewhere beyond yourself. And right now, in this very moment, it's here in these words that are penetrating every defense you've built, speaking directly to places in your heart that you thought were sealed off forever, calling you by name and inviting you home to the embrace your soul was created to experience. You see, this isn't just about you finding God. This is about God revealing that He's been orchestrating every moment of your life to find you, every person he's placed in your path, every experience he's allowed you to have, every door he's opened and every door he's closed, every mountain he's helped you climb and every valley he's walked you through. All of it has been leading to this moment of recognition. You think you stumbled upon this message by accident, but there are no accidents in the kingdom of love. You think you randomly clicked on this video while scrolling, but your heart was being drawn by a love that knows exactly what you need to hear and exactly when you need to hear it. You think this is just another piece of content in your endless stream of consumption, but this is actually your appointment with destiny, your encounter with the love that will change everything. This is your burning bush moment, and the ground you're standing on is holy. This is your road to Damascus experience, and the scales are about to fall from your eyes. This is your wrestling match with the angel, and you're about to walk away with a new name, a new identity, a new understanding of who you are and whose you are. But unlike Jacob, you don't have to fight all night to receive your blessing. Unlike Moses, you don't have to be afraid to look upon the face of love. Unlike Paul, you don't have to be knocked off your horse to encounter grace. This love is gentle with your humanity. This love is patient with your process. This love is kind with your questions and tender with your fears. All you have to do is receive it. All you have to do is stop running long enough to be caught. All you have to do is stop hiding long enough to be found. All you have to do is stop scrolling long enough to be embraced by the love that's been chasing you your entire life. And when you do, when you finally say yes to this invitation, when you finally open your heart to receive what's being offered, something miraculous happens. The restlessness stops. The searching ends. The scrolling becomes unnecessary because you've found what you were looking for all along. Not in the next video, not in the next experience, not in the next achievement or relationship or purchase, but in the arms of the one who made you. This is where your soul finds its rest. This is where your heart finds its home. This is where your spirit finds its peace. Not in the temporary, but in the eternal. Not in the created, but in the Creator. Not in the gift, but in the giver. Not in the blessing, but in the one who blesses. And once you've tasted this love, once you've experienced this embrace, once you've discovered this rest for your soul, nothing else will ever satisfy you again. Not because other things become less enjoyable, but because you finally understand what true satisfaction feels like. Not because other experiences lose their meaning, but because you finally know what ultimate meaning looks like. Not because other relationships become less important, but because you finally understand what perfect love feels like. You become like the woman at the well who left her water jar and ran to tell everyone in town about the man who told her everything she ever did but loved her anyway. You become like the disciples who dropped their nets and followed immediately when they heard their names called by love itself. You become like Mary, who chose the better part and would not be distracted from sitting at the feet of the one who spoke life into her soul. This is what happens when divine love transforms human longing. This is what occurs when eternal truth rewrites temporal lies. This is what takes place when you finally stop searching for love in all the wrong places and discover that love has been searching for you all along. The embrace is waiting. The arms are open. The heart is ready. The only question that remains is whether you're ready to stop scrolling and start receiving, stop running and start resting, stop hiding and start being held by the love that will never let you go. Your soul is calling you home, beloved, and home is not a place you have to travel to. Home is a person you surrender to. Home is a love you rest in. Home is an embrace you've been avoiding but desperately need. Come home, precious one. Come home to the love that created you, that knows you, that chooses you, that will never leave you or forsake you. Come home to the embrace that will heal every wound, answer every question, satisfy every longing, and show you what it really means to be fully alive. Stop scrolling. Start receiving. Your soul's greatest adventure is about to begin. Because right now, in this sacred pause between who you've been and who you're becoming, something is shifting in the atmosphere around you. Can you feel it? That stirring in your chest, that quickening of your pulse, that sense that maybe, just maybe, everything you've been told about yourself, about your worth, about your potential, about your future, might have been a lie designed to keep you small, keep you searching, keep you scrolling through other people's lives instead of living your own. What if I told you that every single moment of dissatisfaction you felt scrolling through social media was actually your soul crying out for something real? What if every empty feeling after hours of consuming content was your spirit recognizing that you were made for so much more than being a passive observer of other people's highlight reels? What if every restless night where you couldn't sleep because your mind wouldn't stop racing was actually your heart trying to tell you that there's a conversation you need to have, a connection you need to make, a love you need to receive? Your restlessness isn't a problem to be solved. It's an invitation to be answered. Your dissatisfaction isn't a character flaw to be fixed. It's a compass pointing you towards something magnificent. Your longing isn't evidence that you're broken. It's proof that you were made for something beyond what this world can offer. But here's what the enemy of your soul doesn't want you to know. He doesn't want you to understand that every moment you spend scrolling, every hour you waste consuming meaningless content, every day you live distracted from your true purpose, is a day you're not discovering the incredible destiny that's been waiting for you since before you took your first breath. You think you're just passing time, but time is actually passing you by. You think you're just staying entertained, but you're actually staying empty. You think you're just staying connected, but you're actually staying disconnected from the most important connection you could ever make. The connection with the one who designed your DNA, who planned your personality, who orchestrated your gifts, who wrote your story before the world began. And I need you to understand something that's going to completely revolutionize how you see your life, your struggles, your setbacks, your seeming failures. None of it has been wasted. None of it has been meaningless. None of it has been a mistake. Every single experience, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, the triumphant, the devastating, all of it has been preparing you for this moment of awakening. That job you lost wasn't just bad luck. It was redirection towards something better. That relationship that ended wasn't just heartbreak. It was protection from something that wasn't meant for you. That dream that seemed to die wasn't just disappointment. It was preparation for a dream so much bigger that your old vision couldn't have contained it. That season of depression wasn't just suffering. It was the deep work of transformation happening in places you couldn't see. God has been writing your story with such incredible precision, such careful attention to detail, such perfect timing, that when you finally see the full picture, you're going to be absolutely amazed at how every piece fit together to bring you to exactly where you are right now, reading these words, feeling this stirring, recognizing that something significant is happening in your soul. But you'll never see this bigger picture while you're constantly zoomed in on your immediate circumstances. You'll never grasp the masterpiece while you're focused on individual brushstrokes. You'll never understand the symphony while you're listening to isolated notes. You have to step back. You have to get quiet. You have to create space for perspective, for revelation, for the kind of clarity that only comes when you stop the noise and listen to the voice that's been trying to get your attention your entire life. This is why the scrolling has to stop. Not just the literal scrolling through your phone, but the metaphorical scrolling through life, the constant movement from one distraction to another, the perpetual consumption of information without transformation, the endless search for something to fill the God-shaped void that can only be filled by God Himself. Because here's what happens when you finally stop and listen. Here's what occurs when you create sacred space in your life for the eternal to intersect with the temporal. Here's what takes place when you silence the noise and tune in to the frequency of heaven. You start hearing things you've never heard before. You start seeing things you've never seen before. You start feeling things you've never felt before. You hear your name being spoken with such tenderness, such love, such pride, that it brings tears to your eyes. You see your reflection in the mirror of God's heart and realize that you're looking at someone precious, someone valuable, someone irreplaceable. You feel a warmth spreading through your chest, a peace settling over your mind, a joy bubbling up from places you didn't even know existed inside you. And suddenly, all those voices that have been telling you that you're not enough, that you'll never amount to anything, that you're too broken to be fixed, that you're too far gone to be saved, that you're too ordinary to be extraordinary, all those voices become whispers, then echoes, then silence. Because the voice of love is speaking now, and it's drowning out every lie with truth so pure, so powerful, so transformative that it rewrites the narrative you've been telling yourself about who you are. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not defined by your worst decisions. You are not limited by your current circumstances. You are not doomed to repeat the patterns of your past. You are not stuck in the story you've been living. You are not trapped by the labels other people have put on you or the boxes they've tried to squeeze you into. You are a child of the Most High God. You are chosen, called, beloved, treasured, delighted in, celebrated. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, knitted together in your mother's womb with intention and purpose and love. You are the apple of God's eye, the joy of his heart, the reason he sings over you with gladness. And once this truth penetrates not just your mind, but your heart, once it moves from information to revelation, once it shifts from something you know to something you are, everything changes. Your posture changes, your perspective changes, your priorities change, your relationships change, your decisions change, your dreams change, your whole life changes. You stop living from a place of desperation and start living from a place of destiny. You stop operating from scarcity and start functioning from abundance. You stop making choices based on fear and start making choices based on faith. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I fly?" You stop wondering, "Am I good enough?" and start declaring, "I am more than enough because God is more than enough in me." This is what happens when you discover your true identity. This is what occurs when you understand your authentic worth. This is what takes place when you step into your rightful position as a beloved child of God. You don't just get healed from your wounds, you become a healer of other people's wounds. You don't just get delivered from your struggles, you become a deliverer for others who are struggling. You don't just receive love, you become a conduit of love to a world that's starving for it. Your story stops being about what happened to you and starts being about what God is doing through you. Your pain stops being something that defines you and starts being something that refines you. Your past stops being a source of shame and starts being a source of strength. Your testimony stops being something you're embarrassed about and starts being something you're excited to share. Because when you've been loved like this, when you've been transformed like this, when you've been set free like this, you can't help but want others to experience what you've experienced. When you've tasted grace, you want everyone to know how sweet it is. When you've felt unconditional love, you want everyone to know how secure it feels. When you've discovered your true worth, you want everyone to know how valuable they are. You become an ambassador of hope to hopeless situations. You become a messenger of peace to chaotic environments. You become a carrier of joy to joyless circumstances. You become a demonstration of what's possible when someone stops settling for less and starts reaching for more. But I want to tell you something that might challenge everything you think you know about spiritual transformation. This isn't about becoming perfect. This isn't about never struggling again. This isn't about having all the answers, or living a problem-free life, or presenting a flawless image to the world. This is about becoming authentic. This is about living integrated. This is about being whole, not perfect, but complete. Not without scars, but with scars that tell a story of redemption. Not without struggles, but with struggles that build character. Not without questions, but with questions that lead to deeper faith. You see, when you're secure in God's love, you don't have to pretend to have it all figured out. When you're confident in your identity as His child, you don't have to put on a mask to hide your humanity. When you're anchored in His acceptance, you don't have to perform to prove your worth. You become free to be real. Free to be honest about your struggles without being defined by them. Free to acknowledge your weaknesses without being ashamed of them. Free to admit your mistakes without being condemned by them. Free to ask for help without feeling weak. Free to show vulnerability without feeling exposed. Free to be human without feeling less than divine. This is what authentic spirituality looks like. Not religious performance, but relational intimacy. Not perfect behavior, but honest communication. Not having all the answers, but trusting the one who does. Not being strong all the time, but knowing where your strength comes from when you're weak. And here's what's absolutely beautiful about this kind of authenticity. It draws people like a magnet. In a world full of filters and facades, fake smiles and false promises, pretense and performance, there's something incredibly attractive about someone who's real. Someone who's been broken, but is being restored. Someone who's been wounded, but is being healed. Someone who's been lost, but has been found. People are hungry for authenticity. They're starving for real connection. They're desperate for someone to show them that it's possible to be human and holy at the same time, to be imperfect and loved, to be struggling and still significant. When you stop trying to be someone you're not and start embracing who you are, flaws and all, you give other people permission to do the same. When you stop pretending to have it all together and start being honest about your journey, you create space for others to be honest about theirs. When you stop performing for approval and start living from acceptance, you model what freedom looks like for everyone who's still trapped in cycles of people-pleasing and performance. This is how transformation spreads. Not through preaching, but through living. Not through judgment, but through love. Not through perfection, but through authenticity. Not through having all the answers, but through being honest about your questions. You become living proof that change is possible, that healing is available, that freedom is real, that love wins. You become a walking testimony to the power of grace, the reality of redemption, the possibility of restoration. You become an invitation for others to experience what you've experienced, to receive what you've received, to discover what you've discovered. And it all starts with this moment, right here, right now, in this sacred space where your searching soul meets pursuing love, where your desperate questions meet patient answers, where your broken places meet healing grace. The love that's ready to embrace your soul isn't asking you to understand everything before you experience anything. It's not requiring you to have perfect faith before you take the first step. It's not demanding that you clean up your life before you open your heart. It's simply inviting you to come as you are and discover what it means to be loved as you are while being transformed into who you were meant to be. This is your moment of choice. This is your crossroads. This is your opportunity to stop scrolling through life looking for something that can only be found in one place, in the embrace of the one who made you, who knows you, who loves you, who has been waiting patiently for you to stop running long enough to be caught by grace. The arms are open, the heart is ready, the love is waiting. The only question is whether you're finally ready to stop scrolling and start receiving the embrace your soul has been craving all along. What I'm about to tell you next will either be the most liberating truth you've ever heard or the most challenging invitation you've ever received. Maybe both. Because love, this radical, this unconditional, this transformative, comes with a cost. Not a cost you pay to receive it. That's already been paid in full, but a cost that comes with accepting it, embracing it, allowing it to completely revolutionize how you see yourself and how you live your life. When you truly understand that you are loved beyond measure, that you are chosen without condition, that you are accepted without reservation. You can't go back to living small. You can't return to settling for mediocrity. You can't continue hiding behind excuses and fears and the comfortable prison of low expectations. Love this powerful demands a response. Grace this overwhelming calls for transformation. Acceptance this complete requires you to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. And that terrifies some people, because it's easier to live with the familiar pain of rejection than to risk the vulnerable joy of being fully known and fully loved. It's safer to stay in the prison of low self-worth than to step into the responsibility that comes with understanding your incredible value. It's more comfortable to remain a victim of your circumstances than to become the victor you were designed to be. But you weren't created for comfortable. You weren't designed for safe. You weren't made for mediocre. You were fashioned for magnificent. You were crafted for extraordinary. You were formed to be a walking demonstration of what happens when divine love meets human potential, when eternal purpose intersects with temporal possibility, when heaven's vision becomes earth's reality. I'm talking about a complete paradigm shift in how you see yourself and your place in this world. No longer the person things happen to, but the person through whom God wants to accomplish incredible things. No longer the victim of your past, but the author of your future. No longer defined by what you lack, but empowered by what you carry. No longer limited by what you can't do, but unleashed by what becomes possible when you partner with the one who can do all things. Your search ends here, beloved. Right now, in this moment, everything can change. The love that spoke galaxies into existence is speaking your name. The hands that hold the universe want to hold your heart. This isn't another video to scroll past. This is your divine appointment with destiny. You've been running, searching, consuming, desperately trying to fill that void with everything except the one who created it. But he's been orchestrating every detail of your story to bring you to this exact moment of recognition. Stop scrolling and let his love embrace your soul.